Bills. You picked a fight with the wrong dude. Oh my God. One of the greatest things on the planet I saw yesterday was that the NFL Players Association did not put that overhyped Micah Parsons on the All-Pro team. Thank you, God. The Dallas Cowboys completely have one of the greatest faces of any franchise I've ever seen that symbolizes exactly their fan base and who they are. It's Micah No-Show Parsons, a.k.a. Missing Parsons. Not anybody in their right mind that's in the league as a player would ever put that guy on an all-pro team. But because the media, not like anything that's not in Philly when it comes to wanting to get key fobs and accessibility to Jerry and to the Cowboys, we'll put that guy on. Putting CeeDee Lamb on the all-pro team, sure, okay, I guess. You know, it's because the Eagles walked it back the last 6 weeks. Sure, okay. But you can't have a better face of an underachieving franchise than Micah Parsons. I'm not going to call him anymore Micah. He don't deserve his true name. He deserves Missing Parsons. Anytime you need him, he's missing in person. Missing Parsons. I am so thankful. You see, the players would never vote for a guy like that. Over TJ Watt, he didn't even make the team. Miles Brandt's going to Canton. Max Crosby's a better edge rusher. Just happens to play on a shitty team without the star. If Micah Parsons is playing in Minnesota, he's Daniel Hunter. No, wait, I'll take that back. Daniel Hunter actually has a lot of numbers. I mean, Missing Parsons, number 11. Oh, shit. There was a guy that wore number 11 back in the day that had more production than anything that guy ever did. His name was Danny White. Do you even know who he is? Danny White's a better number 11 than Missing Parsons. Cowboy fan. That guy took a team to, 5 straight NFC championship games? Didn't Danny White do that? What has your guy done? No show. Danny White is a better number 11 in Dallas's history than Missing Parsons. That's right. And he was a punter. That's right. He was the punter. That's right. Because Landry didn't have to get this. You know what Danny White and why he was so important to the team? He was not only a quality backup quarterback, but he was the punter on the team. You know what that meant? You saved a roster spot. You could have another roster spot because you didn't have to carry a punter. You had your backup quarterback and your starting punter in one dude. You don't think that's an advantage? Missing Parsons. Dallas is going to make a run. Yeah, to the beer keg store once their season's over so they could drown out their sorrows. What would make you, I'm going to talk about the Eagles here in a second too. By the way, the media, man, they are wishful thinking. And I give them a lot of love, man. They love their Philadelphia Eagles, man. Guys like my boy Tone and all them guys, man, I mean, they're just hoping for it. I know, man. I know. I get it. Everyone's hoping that, something changes magically on Monday, and I get it. That's like me saying this about the Cowboys for the last 30 years. You really want me to ignore 30 years and thinking that you're going on a run this year? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Why would I actually do? How could I excuse 30 years of underachieving. This is the year. Really? Oh. Hey, get this. Can it happen? Yeah, I guess so, because CJ Stroud buried the notion in the narrative that Ohio State quarterbacks are not where you go when you go to Ohio State to look for one. Ohio State even got Joe Burrow wrong. They had the guy. Nah, he ain't it. Oh, hey, Ryan Day, no wonder you're getting your face kicked in. You and Urban Meyer at the end there with his headaches or his whatever, because of the coach that was beating his old lady up. I would get headaches too if I was covering for that guy. I'd have headaches too on the sidelines. Okay? Telling the players one thing and acting like another. Do you know who Urban Meyer was? He's a modern-day version of Bobby Knight. He just didn't put his hands on his players. Tell you one thing, do another. Criminal activity in Gainesville when he was the head football coach there. 37 arrests in 5 years. Yeah, that's normal. Hey, got us 2 national titles. Okay. Aaron Hernandez was on that team. Hey, but he won. I got it. But don't try to compromise me about quality people and playing with integrity and having women grinding on. Oh, that was with the Jags, so I'll take that back. Yeah. I'll take that one back. Come on, man. I'll tell you one thing before we get into where I'm really going here with this. I've never seen more quality coaches on the open market right now. This is a buyer's market. Sorry, Antonio Pierce. You ain't getting that Raider job. I would never hire Antonio Pierce with names like Mike Vrabel, Jim Harbaugh, Bill Belichick, and Pete Carroll out there. Are you nuts? If I got 5 years of Carroll and 5 years of Belichick setting my franchise up and then hiring an heir apparent, I'm going to take that. Who are you going to hire? Nick Sirianni? Hey, by the way, if Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick can step down in one day, your boy, what's he done? Well, he just went to his, I don't know. Who is he? So that's not a good look for Nick. That those coaches, accomplished, revered, cemented Hall of Fame busts are on the way. Hey, Nick, you're closer to being a doormat at Canton than you are being the head coach of Philadelphia next year. Especially when you see Belichick and Carroll stepping down. I mean, Belichick, Carroll, Sirianni. Are those my 3 choices? You mean my 2 choices? Okay. Look at Chris, but they're old. Old? You mean they're winners? But they're old. I don't give a shit how old he is. You guys are going to vote for a president of the United States who's 900 years old. You voted for a guy a couple years ago who's 900 years old. 85 million Americans voted for him. He's old. He's the oldest dude ever to be in the White House. Next to Lincoln's horse. The only guy older that ever went into the White House was Lincoln's horse. I mean, don't talk to me about our candidates that we're going to vote for in 24 are going to be near 80 years old apiece. What are you talking about? Give me a break. Belichick thing is interesting, Sills. He has a strong relationship with Lori and Howie. He does. With Bill Ben, we're going to get to that. I promise you. There is so much content today. There is so much content that I can't believe it. I mean, the news in the last 24 hours has a lot and relates a lot to Philly. But I first want to start here. I got to tell you something, man. I happen to have a lot of respect for Howard Eskin, and I don't really respect Odyssey anymore because they told all their hosts that they can't come on my program anymore because they're competing with me. So be it. Howard's a good person. He's a good man. He follows me on Twitter. I follow him. I've got great respect. He used to be able to come on. But the higher ups at WIP, you want to hear an even crazier story? Their news person was going to put me on once a week in Philly. I said, you better go talk to your bosses. He got back to me and goes, you're right. I'm sorry. I go, I knew it. It's all good. Yeah, they don't want me competing. They'd rather have you use a WIP guy. And I'm like, it's okay. I saved them some headache. I get it. They're afraid of me. They should be. Okay? They should be. Because I'm going to get you. And I am getting you. It's okay. I got you. Especially when you're telling people not to come on. You're telling them not to come on because they're competing with me. Ask Howard. As a matter of fact, I have the text messages that he texts me. I can't come on. Management won't let me. And they're not allowing you to go on any station in Odyssey in Philly. Why? They're competing with you. Congratulations. Angelo couldn't come on until after he retired. So that's a testament to you. It really is. KC goes, Eskin is a shill for the Eagles. Great. You just validated where I'm going then. He's a sideline reporter for the Eagles, right? On the broadcast team. Right? He's reporting that Jordan Davis is being fined weekly for being a fat ass. I added fat ass. Him, he's probably saying for being out of shape. I don't know about you, but being in shape takes no athleticism. It takes nothing but dedication, will, and a desire to be great. And this guy would rather be a fat ass. He's not dedicated to his craft. Fletcher Cox is 33 years old. And if a 33-year-old defensive tackle is outplaying a 21-year-old defensive tackle, you should be embarrassed. You know, I had a chance to play next to Ed Jones for a little bit. And I saw how that guy prepared. And Ed Jones in his 17th year, that guy worked as hard as he did when he was 21. And he was 38 years old when I played next to him. And I couldn't believe how he prepared, his routine, how he was just absolutely focused on every single thing he did to be a professional. I wish I had him earlier in my career because I would have gravitated to that and watched how a guy acts as a pro. Because that's what you need to have in your locker room. You need, dude, they should bunk Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox together. He should be walking around with that guy, carrying his bags every day. I had to carry Mike Stensrud's bags. Mike Stensrud had to carry Curly Culp's bags. Do you guys ever hear Curly Culp? You guys ever hear Curly Culp? Played for the Raiders and the Houston Texans or the Houston Oilers back in the day. You guys ever hear Curly Culp? He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer now. I think the mantra on him was the University of Mars. He never went to college. And Mike Stensrud played behind him and then next to him, then eventually took his job when he went to the Raiders. When I first showed up in Tampa, Mike was a 16-year veteran. He goes to me, he goes, "Get my bags." I'm like, "What do you mean, get your bags?" I was a high draft choice. They just gave me a boatload of money. And I was like, "I'm not getting this guy's bags." Marvin Powell, head of the Players Association, one of the great offensive tackles of all time, was on that Bucs team along with Joe Ferguson, who played with OJ in those electric company teams in Buffalo. Came over to me and they went, "Hey, man, when a veteran guy like that to ask you to do that, it's an honor." I was like, "Okay." So I carried this guy's bags, his equipment bag, his entire, with his helmet and his shoulders. I'd have mine. We'd put him on the bus, and I'd have to get his and carry him over to his locker. It was a tradition. What it was there to do was keep you close to him. Watch him how he prepared as a pro, how he acted, how he sounded, how he studied. All the things that you need to do to become a professional. And I didn't take heed to it. I thought he was just an old man. One of the biggest mistakes in my life, I wish I had watched him more, because when I got to the Cowboys and I saw Ed Jones, he did the same shit that Stensrud did. Don't let an opportunity pass by, son. Don't and I say this from failure, not having succeeded. I'm coming from a place of failure because I didn't do the small things to make myself great. That's what this kid's doing. Damn, dude. Your excuse is being a fat ass? At least my excuse was being a dumbass young kid. Not that that's an excuse, but shit, I was in shape. Fat? I was 290. I had 5% body fat on me. You're 350 pounds and you got about 40% fat and you can't get out of your own way. Get your shit together. Being fat is not an excuse. Out of shape? It's week 18, kid. You're a disgrace to the Eagles. If you're not ready to play now, that guy's a disgrace. And you know what the disgraceful thing is? He's letting himself down more than he's letting his teammates down. For being a fat ass. Jesus criminy. This guy's the Pillsbury Doughboy. That's a disgrace. The Eagles drafted you 13th, gave you the money, gave you the opportunity. You showed tremendous promise. And then you ate your way out of it. But because the organization's so fucking soft, they won't get in his ass. Now I know who they're talking about when they say some are committed. They're talking Jordan Davis. He's not committed. Jordan Davis is not committed to being a champion. He's committed to being a fat body. That's on the organization. That's on the organization. I'm going to make a point of that here in a minute. You're not productive because you're fat. I'd rather have you have a broken leg. You have all that ability at that size, and you're a fat body. That's how coaches used to talk to me. So your excuse for not making that tackle is you're fat. I'd rather have you say the guy knocked me on my back. At least I know you knew where to go. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It kind of goes to what Javon Hardgrave was talking. Kumbaya, country club. Yeah, we don't work hard here. You don't work hard enough. That's what the players. I know now. With Jordan Davis being a fat ass, Hardgrave saying it's kumbaya and they don't work hard enough. I go back to this now. Last year, you had a bunch of pros on your team, didn't you? Guys who knew how to have self-awareness and self-preparation. This year, you don't. So you know what you have? You have a team that was not prepared to play. And you know when this started? This started in training camp. Not one person that I've listened to any show is now going to go back to this. Your fucking preseason games. You take no accountability in them. You don't practice hard. You walk into the regular season. And what happens in the back end of the season when you don't prepare with hard work and get your body conditioned? You run out of steam. You're not prepared. You're fat. You're all out of shape. You're not putting enough work in to be a champion. You are not winning that game Monday because you know why? You're not prepared for the 23 season. End of story. Facts. They had 1 year where that thing worked because they had a ton of pros. You're fat. You're all out of shape. You don't work hard enough. You don't put the detail into the details. You're fat. You're out of shape. And you're not prepared. Coaching? Screw the coaching. This is about preparation for the 23 season, physically, mentally, spiritually. You got to work hard. They don't work hard in Philly. End of story. You're lazy. It's a lazy mentality. You are not prepared. I know what's wrong with it now. You looked at the preseason as jokes. You looked at some of the organized team practices. You thought you could duplicate with that veteran team of a year ago, the same bullshit. You walked into places this year where you were totally inexperienced and young, and you thought you had the same professionals in the building that you did a year ago. You know the difference between this year and last year? You had more pros in the building last year than this year. That's the difference. You had more pros. And you know what the offense saw? Defense wasn't prepared this year to play. And the offense didn't work hard enough in the offseason. OTAs, how many of those practices during training camp did they call or not have? How many times do you see them call training camp 2 weeks before training camps to be called? They play no one in exhibition football. And then, look at it. They look like they're playing exhibition football. Tell me I'm wrong. Well, gee, well, no, it's coaching and it's situational play calling. No, it's not. It's fat, it's out of shape, and it's laziness, and it's kumbaya, like Javon Hardgrave said. And some of the players even saying it, we're not, or some of us aren't dedicated enough. Players have been telling you. They're not prepared. That's Sirianni and coaching and organization. That's Howie. Hey, you guys are healthy and out of shape. What's the point? Last year, you had professionals that had self-accountability. You see, you didn't have to tell Linville Joseph or Adama Sue to get in shape. They knew what they had to do. Those guys were 10-year-plus pros. You think there's any coincidence that the most productive player in your D-tackle rotation is a 10-year-plus guy who knows how to prepare himself to play in a season and doesn't need a coach to tell him to do sit-ups or push-ups or get on the treadmill or get on the bike? You think he needs any of that? Absolutely not. Because he has self-awareness. Yeah, but Sills, it's the scheme. Fuck that. It's not the scheme. It's preparation. You're not mentally prepared to play a football season. Out of shape. Your football team, you're 10-1. What happened? You fell off the table. Now you get run over because you're out of gas. You didn't put the work in. This football team has no chance in hell of beating the Bucs Monday. 0. In that heat with the Bucs, The way the Bucks practice in that heat, you better pray to God it's cold Monday night and it's not humid. Jordan Davis won't get through the game because he'll have to get to a Chuck E. Cheese. Being fined every week for being fat. Who's that fall on? Of course, the player first and foremost. Who's that fall on? That is 100% on the coaches. Let me tell you something. Guy walks off the field and he's been laying on the field and he can't raise his arms and it's week 18. You got a problem with that guy's dedication to the sport. Jordan Davis is not dedicated enough as a professional football player. Take it from me. He's not dedicated enough. He has got, and now I know why he never lived up to the immense talent he has at Georgia, but he never really put gargantuan numbers up. 9 sacks in 4 years is not anything to write home about. But when he was in the games, they only played him 25 games, 25 plays, 30 plays. That's all he had to play to dominate in college. That's all you really need. I used to play 90 plays. Jerome and I would never come out. You're not putting somebody behind me. And we had Russell Maryland Cortez behind me. You're not putting anybody in over me. That ain't happening. Those guys were too young and not ready and didn't understand what it took to be a guy to go out there and prepare yourself to play 90 plays if you had to in a game. He and I knew how to do it. We wouldn't come out of games just to put a guy like Russell, who was still a little out of shape and had baby fat on him, getting killed and go, get him out of there. I used to throw my fucking helmet when I saw kids that weren't prepared to play. It's funny, you know what? The same stuff that used to aggravate me, I did when I got to the loser Bucks, and that's my fault. That's my fault. I let myself down. Are you kidding me, man? Between my illness and my own stupid mentality, I look in the mirror every day and go, why? And I look at Russell, I look at Jordan Davis and go, kid, you're blowing it. You can't have the reputation that you can't finish a game because you're fat. That is such an indictment on the season. Hey, my take on Jordan Davis, what I saw early, just for the record here, my take on Jordan Davis, what I saw earlier, and the play on Allen is one of the greatest football plays I've ever seen made by a big man. I would compare what he did by running down Josh Allen to the sidelines the way he did when I saw Larry Allen running down that guy in that game, that there was an interception on Monday night and he ran 90 yards and caught the guy. That's two of the greatest plays I've ever seen made by two gigantic men that look like rhinoceroses. Two of the most athletic people I've ever seen. The difference is Larry Allen is arguably the greatest offensive lineman I've seen in the last 25 years. Jordan Davis is one of the best athletes I've ever seen for that size. I mean it. 4'7", 348 or 338. Gigantic. What a shame, man. Holy cow. What an absolute travesty that will be if that guy flops out. You'll shake your head at that and go, it's not that it'll be a bust. He will be the biggest disappointment in the history of the Philadelphia Eagle draft history if he doesn't fulfill his prophecy. Jerome Brown had an excuse. He was killed. This kid here won't have any excuse. He just couldn't get away from the McDonald's drive-in line. That's no excuse. Man, the organization didn't prepare him for the season. Gilbert Bound, 345, dear friend of mine, loved him, number 93 Packers, outstanding ball player. He may have been north of 345. He's about 6 foot, 6'1". He's like my height. He might have been 355, and he can move. Jerry Ball, Detroit Lions, was a 315 guy, 6 foot guy. And he played his ass off. Never took downs off. You'd think the trainers would put him on a diet. No, they wouldn't. You heard Javon Hargrave say they don't have a mentality, and they're not strict in that place. You would think that the Eagles would put him on a diet? Why would you think that? There's not attention to detail. Oh, now they're practicing today, I heard. Oh. You know why they're practicing today? Because Howard said that Davis is out of shape. We're doing up downs again and fumble drills with Jalen now. Looks like a high school football team over there now doing high school drills. Dude, that's a high school run football team. Jesus criminy. Dude, are they really? Why do you do things for the media? Keep the media out. You don't have to have them there and have access. What's the point of that? If I ran a football team, it'd be locked down. Only thing you would do is get the players react. I wouldn't have you come to practice. You would not be open to practice. Why would I do that? So you could write some stupid ass narrative for the Philadelphia Inquirer? Kiss my ass. Give you fodder or some sort of content? Kiss me, man. What are you, crazy? I don't give a shit about that stuff. But it's really important for them to have a public perception nationally. Locally, they don't give a shit about you guys. They'll lie to you every day, and they do. You're fat, Jordan Davis. Hey, Sills, what do you think of Jordan Davis's 2023 season? I don't know, man. Here's the narrative. Got a lot of ability, but he's fat. That's 2 years in a row. Got a lot of ability, but he's fat. So in the third year, it's going to change. Aren't you kind of who you are now? I mean, we got 34 games here, kid. You think it's time to lay off the Roy Rogers? Curly fries? The 10 milkshakes? 2 dozen White Castles? You think we're done with that? Sills, 2023 Jordan Davis. He's fat. Remember that movie Full Metal Jacket? He's the guy that hides a devil dog in his locker box when bed check's going on. Holy Jesus, you know what? What the fuck do we have here? What is this, Private Davis? It's a ho-ho. A ho-ho. Where did you get the ho-ho? From the mess hall. from the mess hall. Is chow permitted in bedrooms? No. Why is it here, Private Davis? Because I was hungry. Because you were hungry. I have failed. That's what the Eagles need. They need somebody like that dude in Full Metal Jacket. I have failed to connect with Private Davis because you are a fat body. Some would go, Sills, why are you being hard on him? Because he's blowing an opportunity of a lifetime that you don't get back. And you'll kill yourself over it for the rest of your life if you don't fulfill your destiny. I'm here to help you, son. Dear God, please don't give me the money to buy the Eagles' actual coaches. Actually drafting money being spent everywhere needed. That's why I'm being hard on him. Like the damn coaches in that building should be. Like his agents should be. He don't have enough people in his life telling him no. Damn, Jordan. You have the world in your hand. You have everything in your hand. You can be a dominant football player. I saw you dominate this league for a 6-game stretch. I said this, holy shit. Who is that? Today, you're worse than you were a year ago at the end of the year. Brian Baldinger does not like to kill guys like that. Who's the other guy that goes on WIP? Ross Tucker, who's a friend of ours, has been on the program. He doesn't like to kill the guy either. The two former players that do everything they can to promote all the players. They're trashing that guy for being fat. For being fat. Oh, and by the way, nobody in the media will kill the guy. You know what you're doing? You're asking questions. Hey, Nick, how's all this taking its toll on you? Hey, I think they're going to find themselves Monday. NFL's not a wishful thinking league. It's a production league. It's a production league. Show me. Hey, I'm going to get to this one topic before I get to the other one. Let's do this, because I want to see how many people in here actually believe this on Monday. I listen to all our shows, and I listen to the radio shows, and I read the columns around the city, and I also nationally about the Eagles. How many people think the Eagles are going to win Monday? How many people think they're going to win? And they're going to, because they're better than Tampa. I have 25, not me, W. I don't, but it's 50-50. Eagles will lose Monday, unfortunately. Evening Sills, Daza, thank you. Pride. What pride? Getting beat by Arizona and New York? That's pride? I didn't see 1 ounce of pride this last Sunday, and you're magically going to find pride on Monday? Come on, dog. Pride's not something you turn on and off. It's an innate thing that's in your belly. You see what that guy just said? He makes it sound like you can turn pride on and off. You either have it or you don't. That's not something that's on a bell curve. That's not something on a bell curve. So I listen to everyone. I do. And I hear people, look, man, I think they're gonna man up on Monday. You know, you listen to the WIP guys, they're stretching as far as they could possibly stretch out to give them the benefit of the doubt. So you mean to tell me for the last month and a half, I'm just supposed to ignore how you've played over the last month and a half and give you the benefit of the doubt on Monday? Why? Hey, man, it's a playoff. That's kind of greasy. That's the stupidest thing on. It could be any game. Playoff game? You've been playing playoff games the last 3 weeks. Greasy. You lost in the last 3 weeks. You lost the East. You lost home field within the last 3 weeks. Do you understand that? You lost the East. You lost home field. You had a 2-game lead in the last month and a half. But hey, it's the playoffs. You can't be any dumber. Am I really supposed to ignore the last month and a half of bad football, 3-5 since the break, to think you're going to turn it around on Monday? Why? There's being a fan and being smart. I put $1,000 on Tampa with the points. Sorry, no, not sorry. It's a game we got to win. That's fan talk. So you mean the last couple weeks you had games that you weren't supposed to win? That must be Dallas Goedert. Greasy must be Dallas Goedert. Never underestimate a heart of a champion. Who said you're a champion? Oh, that's right, Peter. I got it. Okay. Heart of a champion. I saw that last heart of a champion in Buffalo. That Buffalo game. That was the heart of a champion. Any given Sunday? No. Any given Sunday, the Eagles can give up. That should be your mantra. Not any given Sunday. In 2023, you need to add the other word. Any given Sunday, the Eagles can give up. Add those words. You can surrender a 2-game lead in the East, and you can surrender 10-point leads. You're professional at that. The only thing really, quite frankly, that you can really say that the Eagles were proficient at this year was giving up. Oh, and being fat. So let's do this here with Todd Bowles. Do you think Todd Bowles is not going to do the same things that Jonathan Gannon and Wink Martindale did? Here's how they're going to beat Philly. You ready? They're not really going to run the ball that much. They're probably going to get 110 yards rushing, Bucks. because your run defense blows. They're going to throw the ball. Hey, congratulations to you, Antonio Winfield Jr., for being named the NFC Defensive Player of the Week, too. I know you got snubbed. You know I love you. You know you're awesome. Awesome stuff. You got snubbed on the Pro Bowl. Congratulations to you. Awesome job. Kudos to you. So, yeah, they're going to throw the ball, and you can't cover any. You can't cover. I can't name you people who play for the Cardinals. I don't even know who the wide receivers are in the Giants, except that one overpaid guy, Waller. I don't know any of those guys. The last 2 weeks, I don't know anybody who are any quality wide receivers on any of those teams. And you got two 1,000-yard receivers and a guy with 65 catches out of the backfield and 1,000 yards rushing. I mean, who's covering these people? And don't sit here and surrender what you've watched for a month and a half. Why do you think your brain is smarter than your eyes? You've been watching this. I think you're watching the game with your heart. Wouldn't you agree? You're watching the game with your heart, not your mind and your eyes. Eagle fans, you watch the game with your heart. Seals, we need to run Swift a ton. Hey, Maniac, I'll tell you simply how to win that game. Are you ready? Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, punt. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, punt. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, punt. Run the ball, run the ball, punt. Mayfield fumble, interception, pick it up, short field, kick a field goal. Run the ball, punt. Run the ball, punt. Mayfield, pick, pressure. Touchdown, 10-0. Third quarter, run the ball, punt. Run the ball, punt. Baker Mayfield, INT, forcing the ball down the field. Run the ball, punt. Run the ball, punt. Fourth quarter, turnover, fumble. Eagles get it, 13-0. Game. That's how you're going to win this. It's the only way you're going to win that game. You got to turn that game into a fist fight. Because if you're going to turn that game into a back and forth, you're losing. Because your defense can't throw punches. And you know why you're punting? You're giving your defense a fighter's chance not to score, have the other team score on you. 4th and 4. What a dick. With a defense that against teams like the Cardinals who didn't punt, he's going for it on 4th and 4. Why? How many punts did the Seahawks have? How many punts did the Giants have? 4th and 4, I'm going for it. That's it. Give the Giants the ball on the 50, half the field, where they only have to go 25 yards to get a field goal and put you down, put you back with more pressure. That's the dumbest coaching with a team that's struggling on defense. The problem that you have with the coaches right now, they're coaching the wrong side of the ball. All their resources and all their focus is on the offense, like all of you. You guys are keep asking me the same old ass questions every week. Offense needs to do this. No, it doesn't. The offense needs to help the defense. You know what that is? You don't have to score to help the defense. Make sure the other team has long fields. It's the only way to win. If you have turnovers or if you have 3 and outs, you're getting beat. The only way to win is for that offense to give the Buccaneers long fields to have to score. Give your defense a fighting chance. Give them a fighting chance. When you give them half fields, turnovers, not a chance in hell you're winning. You can't even beat the Cardinals. You can't beat the Seahawks. You can't beat the Giants. Shit, the Cardinals didn't even punt on you. They didn't even need a punt to kill you. And you want to sit there in a playoff game with 2,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard back and a 4,000-yard quarterback who's playing better? You know, it's funny. I heard Rob even say it. No disrespect, Rob. I love you. You know that. The Bucs are just not good. Look who they've played down the stretch. Look who you've lost to down the stretch. It's one thing to do this. At least the Bucs did what they were supposed to do. Think about what and how some people in Philly look at that Bucs now compared to themselves. You know, look who the Bucs have beaten down the stretch. Not really a lot of good teams. Well, look who the fuck you lost to down the stretch. Horrible teams. Where do you come off saying that you're better? Oh, I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying that's a mentality where you have to have some balance in conversation here. Are you crazy? Yeah, the Bucs really didn't beat anybody. Well, you lost to nobodies. At least they won. Bucs took care of business. They beat bad teams. Okay? That's how you get into the playoffs. You know what the Eagles did? They built all their equity up in the beginning of the year, and they coasted like they were a 8-9 football team down the stretch. I mean, you're making it sound like, well, you know, the Bucs, they got in the playoffs. They really haven't played anybody, and you lost to nobodies. Man, I'd never go into a fist fight against anybody thinking that I was going to kill the guy. I'm going to go in there going, I'm going to give this guy everything I have. I don't give a shit what his record is. That's why all you guys 10-1, 10-2, that shit don't matter to people. That's the Cardinals. That's the Giants. That's the Seahawks. Great record you had. Looks dumb now, doesn't it? Looks like a turnover chain. That 10-1 necklace you had around your neck looks dumb. All those posts you guys made, 10-2, 10-1. Look stupid now, don't they? Yeah. 11-6. That thing looks stupid. Todd Bowles is going to blitz the shit out of you. He's going to blitz the shit out of you. They're going to throw the ball, intermediate passing, dump offs. And you don't have anybody that can cover him. Well, maybe Zach Cunningham. Zach Cunningham? You mean one of those street merchants that you have playing on your team? Good God almighty. So you think a street merchant's going to cover a guy with 1,000 yards rushing and 65 catches and 600 yards almost in receptions? Good grief. They have mismatches on offense, on your defense at almost every position, including your D-line. That's it. Keep dropping Hassan, too. That'll help the Bucs. Why don't you help the Bucs win the game? Keep dropping Hassan Reddick in coverage. You understand when a player like Hassan Reddick, Tone, you said this, and we both said this actually. You know what the coaches in Philly are doing? The coaches in Philly are so anal in how they approach games, and they're so arrogant on how they see the game that they're not calling the game to the skill set of the players that are on the field, like a Jim Johnson would or a Jim Schwartz. Nobody drops Hugh Douglas in coverage. Hugh Douglas doesn't drop in coverage with Jim Johnson. This defense, he would. And he'd probably be an average ball player. Hugh Douglas couldn't play on this defense. He might look like Derek Barnett. He couldn't play on this. You know why? Because they don't use him right. Could you imagine Hassan Reddick in a Jim Johnson or Dan Quinn defense? He'd have 25 sacks. Anybody who knew what the hell they were doing. Dude, one thing is damn sure. Matt Patricia was a clipboard holder in New England. I have no respect for that guy. I was fooled. I apologize. You know, when you think you're like Brian Flores is a hell of a coach compared to that guy. And here's the problem that you have. Matt Patricia believes in his scheme, you know, the pencil guy. Brian Flores believes in the players and puts a scheme around the players. Matt thinks it's about the scheme because Belichick thought it was always about scheme too. But you see what made Bill different? Bill would go from a 43-34 disguise. It was all Bill. Bill would do that. He was the king of the 34. Then when he saw that he had better linemen, he went to a 43 or he went to a bear look or he went to a 5-line look. Bill's greatest defensive coordinator of all time, not only the greatest head football coach of all time. Okay? Offensively, he's limited. But you know how he maximized it? He got a savant in Brady to play the quarterback position. Okay? Greatest coach ever lived. I thought it was very professional how they handle it in New England. Way to go. You'll never see anything like that ever again. In the history of the league, as great as Hallis was, as great as Shula was, as great as anybody with any length of time, it's the greatest dynasty of all time in American football history. That's college or pro. Nothing like it in a salary. And he did it in a salary cap area, which makes it extra extraordinary. Completely extraordinary. That is something that we will never accomplish again. We're lucky we lived in the era of Belichick and Brady. It's like living in the era of Tiger and Jordan, and you got a chance to watch something like that. The further removed we get from Belichick in New England, the further more you're going to respect the things that those men did and how they accomplished that feat, knowing how hard it is just to get back to a Super Bowl. Ask the Eagles how hard it is. You want to hear a crazy statistic? Every year that Belichick and Brady were together in New England, every other year they went to a Super Bowl for 19 years. It's utterly unbelievable. Utterly unbelievable. The determination and dedication it takes. You know, as much as you want to say Brady, well, there was Lawyer Malloy. There was Willie McGinnis. There was Darrelle Revis. There was Amendola. There was Edelman. That fabulous O-line. There was all those great players like Hightower. There were all those players like Slater. He put all those guys on that football team too. Remember something. Ask your boy Jalen Hurts if having guys put people in hey, you think Jalen Hurts would be more effective this year if he had a decent defense? Ask yourself this. You know why Belichick would never allow Jalen Hurts? You know, look, I think that he failed Mac Jones by putting Patricia as that OC. I think that was a colossal disaster. But one thing is for sure. Remember what I told you? If you're going to be one thing and you're a head coach and your skill set's offense or defense, Belichick's defenses have still been great. It's still a good group. He needs help on offense. No shame in that. And by the way, just to put it in more perspective for you on Belichick's legendary career, how did Shula end? How did Hallis end? You want to hear a statistic? The last years that George Hallis coached, he drafted Gale Sayers and Dick Butkus, I think either in the 64 or 65 draft. You know, they never went to the playoffs with those two guys, and they were Hall of Famers. They never went to the playoffs. People look at Tampa Bay's game against Carolina and say, we can beat them. Carolina D ended up 4th in the NFL. Evans and Godwin going to cook us. They see the records. That's why, Warrior. Flexing goes Aaron Hernandez. Hell of a ball player. And also Gronk. See, unlike Flexen thinks that that's like, ooh, he had Aaron Hernandez, a hell of an all-pro football player. Just like OJ was in Buffalo. OJ Simpson was one of the greatest football players of all time. Could be the 3rd greatest back ever to live. I have no problem saying that. We're not talking about off the field. I'm talking about what he did in between the hash marks. The Juice is one of the greatest players. He ran for 275 yards versus the Steel Curtain on a Monday night when nobody else was on that team. I don't know. OJ was a great player. OJ was a great ball player. Gronk's better than Kelsey. I'll take Gronk over Kelsey any night, any day, anytime. Bigger. Insane Chris Carter hands. Tremendous blocker. He's the prototypical tight end that you would ever want lining up in your old line and being a guy running down the seam or catch and release or block and release, I should say. He's the greatest tight end that's ever lived next to Kellen Winslow. Him and Winslow, Sr., are the 2 greatest tight ends that have ever lived. Not Tony Gonzalez. No, thank you. I'll take Gronk. Better hands, better blocker. Just, he was unguardable. Just unguardable. And Belichick found him too. You know, it was great. What about the other 52 guys on the team? Takes a team to win a Super Bowl, doesn't it? I think Jalen's finding that out. Don't you think? We got another topic that we're going to hit on here in a minute. I think this is going to be something that we're going to have a little exercise here in this coming hour here. All right, folks, you see we're having a little internet issue here. I apologize about that. Hopefully it clears up a little bit. Hey, we want to start out the new year, by the way, the right way in 2024. Hooter calendars are out, as I've been telling you now. 9 of the girls in the Northeast section have been featured in the new calendars. You can go to northeasthooters.com to find those calendars. There's $100 in coupons that are inside. You got great specials on the menu right now. HootersToGo.com. Say you don't want to go inside the places. You can do that as well. Hey, man, do me a favor. This is your postseason destination. There are so many great football games coming up this wild card weekend.